has begun engagements with the government of Ghana for a new gas sales contract as free gas, or what is called foundation gas volumes, expire by the end of the year. The contractual framework, Tullow says, will ensure there is no interruption in supply of gas to support power generation. Speaking to Joy Business, Managing Director of Tullow Ghana, Wissam Al-Monthiri, said it was urgent for an agreement to be reached as it would also ease the cost burden on the Ghanaian consumer.
The weighted average price of gas in Ghana today is somewhere in the $6.50 per MMBTU million British thermal units, which is actually quite expensive, and that's kept high based on the existing sources of supply, one of which you mentioned in your question. We made a proposal to the government of Ghana that, well, let me say this, so there's really two things. So with the foundation gas volumes expiring, we would like to have a contractual framework in place that allows for the continuation of those associated gas volumes to go to the country after the completion of the foundation gas. Well, we're currently engaging. We are working really hard to ensure that we get agreements in place before any of the deadlines or anything I mentioned. I can't commit to a timeline now, purely because it's not only in my hands or in our hands, but I will stress the urgency. This is for the benefit of the Ghanaian consumer, be it in the private, public, or individual, from an individual perspective, or private or public sectors. The urgency level is high, and we all should be working really hard to ensure that there's no interruption of supply.
Wissam Al-Monthiri, the energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman, joins us on Zoom to discuss this. What do you make of this push by Tullow for a new gas sales contract? Good deal worth considering?
Yeah, thank you very much, Darren. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your Chair, the Vice Ghana, and across the globe. Yes, indeed, it is worth considering, and I think the government of Ghana, they have to forge forward to be able to come to an agreement, to a deal as fast as possible. And why is this very important? If you look at time past, Tullow in the initial stages, they were committed to supplying over 200 billion cubic feet of gas, to Ghana government. This gas was free. That's what we call foundation gas. And the gas was crucial to Ghana, and then to Tullow, to Ghana, governor of Ghana on one hand, and to Tullow, the IOC on the other hand. How was it very important to Ghana? Power production using gas is the most, we can say, it's undoubtedly the most competitive. If you're able to maximize our power production or link up our petroleum sector with the power sector using gas as conduit, I think it will drive down the cost. And I think that the MD agreed to that, and I agree to that very much. But what is it important to Tullow and indirectly to Ghana? In time past, somewhere 2009, if you observe, Tullow complained that they were losing production, and they were losing production because we were not able to offtake the gas, even though this gas was free, but because of Ghana government contractor agreement with other players, other competitors, it was quite difficult to directly take the gas from Tullow. And in oil production, if you're unable to lift the gas, it will impact your oil production. You need to displace the gas to be able to get access to the oil. So if you remember, somewhere 2009, Tullow alluded as the fact that Ghana government was not able to offtake this gas, and that was accountable for some of the downside in their production. So yes, it is crucial for Ghana government and Tullow for one hand. And I also mention that if we come to an agreement before the end of the year or as soon as possible, it will give Tullow a plan in place that the gas, they know that the gas is going to be offtake, because of what I just talked about. If the gas is not offtake, I think it's going to be a serious bottleneck. Besides that, we need a lot of gas. Though we still have gas within our shores, but we need gas at competitive amount, at competitive basis, to be able to deliver power to the end user, and to industry.
Well, government has the option of Sankofa gas, doesn't it, which is also available. So I asked Al-Monthiri how competitive this new gas sales contract is. Just take a listen to what he says.
through our work over the years and learning the 10 and Jubilee reservoirs, we've been able to identify that there is significant non-associated gas resources on top of what is already being exported today that could be made available to the country. Now, the difference with these volumes is, you've heard us mention the numbers of over 2 trillion cubic feet that we believe is in those reservoirs through our sort of informal studies and understanding. But those volumes require investment. They require capital investment to drill wells. They require infrastructure to be put in place from a subsea standpoint, from a facility standpoint. They require pipelines so that they get to the end users in the power and manufacturing sectors. But they're there. And even with all that capital investment, those gas volumes represent, in our view, by far, the lowest cost gas available for the country of Ghana relative to other options, domestic or foreign. And this happens to be domestic resources. So we think that there's a lot of really important reasons why there should be a great deal of urgency around having the right contracts in place to ensure the delivery of this gas continues and investment in new volumes continue.
So, Yusuf, we know that Russia's war on Ukraine has escalated gas prices globally, and countries are looking for cheaper gas. Now, based on Tullow's proposal, it says it will be able to supply a minimum of 200 million standard cubic feet of gas a day if this proposal pulls through. And he says this will represent by far the lowest cost gas available to the country of Ghana from any alternative source, be it domestic or foreign. And so that's the bargaining chip.
Yeah, certainly. And I think Tullow is just learning from what is currently being in place. If you remember, Tullow has been within our shores before ENI came. And so ENI, they were quite aware that Tullow gas is supposed to be free. And so it was not surprising that they strategically pushed Ghana to sign a contract of take-or-pay. Because had it not been take-or-pay, it means that Ghana wouldn't have minded, ENI gas, because Tullow gas is available. And so, yes, the thing is that we have a stringent contractor agreement with ENI, which is the Sankofa gas, and it's also huge as we speak. It's so much. So there's going to be, I believe that if we go into agreement with Tullow as quick as possible, and then these players, there could be some kind of competition between the two players. That's an ENI gas and that of Tullow gas. If that competition is there, at the end of the day, it will drive down the cost. And yes, you're right. Russian fallout, the fallout of Russian war has skyrocketed gas prices in the global space. With Russia threatening or they've already said they'll be cutting gas supply to Europe. And so that has skyrocketed energy prices in Europe. And that has the potential to impact energy costs globally. And it's already impacting. So, but for the fact that this resource is domestic, and then we have opportunity to be able to tap into this domestic resource, I think we just have to take advantage of that. If we do that, if you look at this Russian war, Derek, those who are heavily impacted are those who are highly dependent on external import of energy products. Yes. So if assuming we are to depend outside for gas supply like Europe is doing, then that will crumble our economy. There's no two ways about that. But if we have this domestic resource and we take advantage of that and utilize it to the benefit of the populace, then I think Russian war or not Russian war, we are going to be shielded. And these are some of the strategies that we've been saying, that if we take advantage of our domestic resources, make them robust, then external influences are not in any way, that external influences will not be able to impact it that much like they are doing. So yes, I think the high time we get together and get a contract signed to push forward the better, so that a kind of competition can be created between the two players where competitive-wise gas prices come down.
I'm sure issues such as take or pay or take and pay will come up. What would you advise as they deliberate over the contract?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one, and I think Ghana we have to learn our lessons. And I will repeat what I said. I only fault ENI for getting them to sign take or pay because they understand. In any case, take or pay contract, it's not a bad thing if you understand, especially where we have security, supply security ramifications, then take or pay is something that players will agree upon. But in our case, I think we didn't have that much of supply security ramifications. So yes, I think Ghana, we have to cautiously look at this new contract. And I think under no circumstance should we, push ourselves into take or pay, because we don't have, let's say, supply security, ramifications. So if you don't have supply security ramifications of a commodity, then you shouldn't push yourself to sign take or pay. And I think if you sign a better contract with Tullow, it will strategical places to renegotiate with ENI with respect to the current contract that we have with them. My understanding is that government in Ghana was looking forward to renegotiate, that kind of contract with ENI to make it a bit flexible. And so if that is done, I think overall it's going to help in domestic gas production. It's going to show up our energy security as far as power generation is concerned.
Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, oil production specialist, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for your time. Let's take